It was a night I'll never forget, no matter how hard I try. The abandoned Willowbrook Hospital had always been a place of fascination for me. Stories of its dark history swirled in the town like a bad omen, whispers of illegal experiments, patients who were never seen again, and the eerie feeling that the building itself was alive. But I was a skeptic. Ghosts, spirits, the supernatural, it was all nonsense to me. Until that night. The hospital loomed in the distance as I approached, its jagged silhouette cutting into the starless sky. The wind howled through the broken windows, carrying with it a faint, metallic smell that made my stomach churn. I had come alone, armed with nothing but a flashlight and my own stubborn disbelief. The front doors were sealed shut with heavy chains, but a side entrance, partially hidden by overgrown weeds, stood slightly ajar. I slipped inside, my footsteps echoing in the vast, empty lobby. The air was thick, almost suffocating, and the temperature dropped the moment I crossed the threshold. My flashlight flickered as I swept it across the room, revealing cracked walls, shattered glass, and overturned furniture. The floor was littered with debris, old medical records, broken syringes, and something that looked suspiciously like dried blood. I told myself it was rust. It had to be rust. I moved deeper into the hospital, my footsteps echoing unnaturally loud in the silence. The further I went, the heavier the air became, as if the building itself was pressing down on me. The walls seemed to close in, and the shadows danced in the corners of my vision, always just out of reach. I tried to shake the feeling, but it clung to me like a second skin. I found myself in the old intensive care unit. The doors were rusted and hung crookedly on their hinges, creaking as I pushed them open. The room was vast, with rows of broken hospital beds and rusted medical equipment. The smell was worse here, a nauseating mix of decay and something chemical, like burnt plastic. My flashlight flickered again and I smacked it against my palm, willing it to stay on. That's when I heard it. A low guttural moan coming from the far corner of the room. I froze, my heart pounding in my chest. The sound grew louder, more distinct, until it became a voice. A woman's voice, choked with pain and desperation. "Help me," it whispered, barely audible over the pounding of my own heartbeat. "Please, help me." I wanted to run, but my legs wouldn't obey. The voice grew louder, more insistent, until it was all I could hear. My flashlight flickered again, and in the brief moment of darkness, I saw her, a figure standing at the edge of the room, her face twisted in agony. She was dressed in a tattered hospital gown, her skin pale and translucent, her eyes hollow and black. She took a step toward me, her movements jerky and unnatural, and I felt a wave of pure terror wash over me. The flashlight died completely, plunging the room into darkness. I fumbled with it, my hands shaking so badly I could barely grip it. The whispers grew louder, more frantic, and I felt something cold and wet brush against my arm. I stumbled backward, tripping over something on the floor. My hands landed on something soft and sticky, and when I looked down, I could just make out the shape of a human hand in the faint moonlight streaming through a cracked window. I scrambled to my feet, desperate to get out, but the whispers turned to screams, agonized, ear-splitting screams that seemed to come from inside my head. The air grew colder, and I could see my breath fogging in front of me. Shadows moved in the corners of the room, shifting and coalescing into shapes that shouldn't exist. I backed away until I hit the wall, my breath coming in ragged gasps. That's when I saw her again, the woman in the hospital gown. She was closer now, her hollow eyes locked onto mine. Her mouth opened and the screams intensified, filling the room, filling my mind. And then, just as suddenly as it had started, it stopped. The room fell silent, the figure vanished, and the door creaked open. I didn't look back. I ran, stumbling through the dark hallways, tripping over debris, until I finally burst out into the cold night air. I didn't stop running until I was miles away from that cursed place. I never went back, and I never will. But sometimes, in the dead of night, I still hear those whispers, and I know that whatever was in that hospital, it's not done with me yet.